Okay, so every so often I do like a channel stats video where we actually look at where channel viewers are from, mostly countries or cities, sometimes the age demographics. So this time I've decided to look at the top 50 cities all time where channel viewers are from. Now, this is not the first time I've done one of these videos looking at the locations around the world channel viewers are from. So this is the 2025 edition because I've done previous videos looking at the top 10 and top 50 cities where viewers are from. I'm trying to keep this simple, so this is just the rankings that I looked on YouTube Studio Analytics. This is the top 50 locations that are given, because not everyone makes their location public, which is fine. Some people want to protect their data. That is absolutely okay, but this is the top 50 cities or towns around the world where people have publicly shared their data who are viewing the channel. There's some real interesting ones in here. Only one city from the US and a smaller city from the US that many people may have never even heard of has made the top 50, which I find really surprising. No cities, for example, in Germany or France, which I find surprising, but a city in Italy, even though Germany and France have had more channel viewers overall than channel viewers from Italy. An Italian city makes the top 50, but Germany and France don't. We've got a fair representation from India. There's a fair few Indian cities that have made the list, and but only one South African city, even though, again, South African viewership has been quite strong over the years for the channel. Only one South African city makes the top 50, which again I find really, really surprising considering the amount of rugby union and cricket content we've done, and considering that India makes the list quite regularly, actually. So, without any further ado, let's dive in. There are some surprises on this list where people are viewing from. There's a lot of UK cities on this list as well, and I'm not surprised by that considering most of the channel content I've done is based towards a UK audience. But Australia does very, very well. And again, I'm not surprised with the amount of rugby league content and cricket content I have done. So in 50th place, from India, Bengaluru. A little bit surprised that cracks the top 50. I haven't done as much cricket content as I used to do. But Bengaluru comes in at 50th overall for channel viewership all time. And 49th is Hyderabad, also in India. So India's on the list very early in the top 50. And I do find that a little bit surprising, but at the same time, India's the most populous nation on earth. They are cricket mad, but they also have a big, keen interest in European football. They actually do support a lot of the European football clubs. They have a very, very keen interest. Even if though football was not popular sport being played in India, they do like watching it. So I'm not surprised that two Indian cities are the first two cities within the top 50. Then we have Chesterfield at 48th in the UK. I'm not surprised that a UK city's made the top 50, not at all, or town, but I am surprised Chesterfield is one of those locations that's cracked the top 50. 47th place. Now, this is a surprise with how low this city is, considering the amount of content I've done on teams from this city. That's Nottingham in the UK. I am surprised they come in at 47th, considering you've got Notts County and Nottingham Forest. I am surprised, as I say, that they come in only at 47th. The town I grew up in, Bracknell, I'm surprised they've cracked the top 50, considering the population of the town is not tiny, but it's not massive. That comes in at 46th. And, Nottingham and Bracknell, they're both in the UK, but I'm surprised Nottingham is as low as it is, and I'm surprised Bracknell's cracked the top 50, just for population size. Nuku'a Alafoa from Tonga, capital of Tonga, is at 45th. Again, that's about a similar size to Bracknell in the UK. I'm not surprised that has come up in the top 50 because of the rugby league content that I've done over the years, especially the Rugby League World Cup content when Tonga are playing, and some of the test matches Tonga have played over the years in rugby union and rugby league. But a city that size, that just shows that I am quite popular in Tonga. Now, this is the biggest surprise. This is the only US city on the list at 44th. Is Pacific in the USA, which is a suburb city of Seattle in Washington. I had to look it up. I actually had to look this place up. Pacific in the USA is a very small city, very less than 10,000 people. It's in the Seattle metro, so it's in the state of Washington in the US. And that's my most popular US location. Bigger than places like Los Angeles, New York, any of the Texan cities, Phoenix, Las Vegas, I'm. There you go. A small city in the Seattle metro is the only US city to make the list. That just stuns me. 43rd overall, Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. 42nd, Lai in PNG. I'm not surprised that a PNG city's made the top 50. In fact, it's not the only one that's made the top 50 because of the NRL and other rugby league content that I do. It's the national sport. I've covered a couple of Papua New Guinean players, their player profiles, so I'm not surprised with that. 41st, and a bit of bragging rights for Derby in the UK over Nottingham. There's a local rivalry between those two cities. Derby at 41st. Again, I'm a little bit surprised with how low some of these UK cities actually are and how they're not in higher up in the top 50, but Derby got a few bragging rights over Nottingham there. 40th is Warrington. Again, not surprised with the amount of rugby league content that I do. Warrington's a rugby league town, so not surprised that's made the top 50. Bristol, 39th. Two professional football clubs, professional rugby union club, semi-pro ice hockey team. Not surprised Bristol is in the top 40, let alone the top 50. Just below Cardiff, 38th. Again, rugby union content, football content. Again, not surprised Cardiff's made it. Then we get our first city from New Zealand. That's Wellington, the capital of New Zealand, comes in at 37th. I think that's about fair. New Zealand's one of the more popular nations on the channel for viewership all time, so I'm not surprised Wellington has cracked the top 50. Just behind Newcastle from Australia. There's more than one Newcastle in the world. We've got two cities, Newcastle under Lyne and Newcastle upon Tyne in the UK. And then, of course, you've got Newcastle in New South Wales, Australia. Again, rugby league content. That comes in at 36th. Belfast comes in at 35th. I haven't done any of the Northern Ireland football clubs yet, so I do think when I do some more football club histories, Belfast could significantly move up the list at some point. If I was to do this video next year, I would expect Belfast to potentially be higher in the top 50. Hertford from in the UK, north of London's at 34. This is a surprise for me. At 33rd is Rome in Italy. That's one very, very popular in Rome and Italy. I am surprised with that, considering places like France and Germany, for example, have higher channel viewership than in Italy, but Rome comes in at 33rd. I've also done a lot of Italian football club histories as well. So that does surprise me a little bit, that one city from a country dominates the viewership from that country and it comes in at 33rd all time. So a bit of a surprise there. Edinburgh comes in at 32nd. Of course, not a fair few Scottish football clubs histories, a lot of the Edinburgh clubs and rugby union content. Leeds coming in at 31st. Again, rugby league and football and cricket, they're very popular sports in the city of Leeds. The Central Coast in Australia comes in at 30th. Again, that's rugby league country, is the Central Coast. A lot of teams pick up their junior players, like the Sydney Roosters, from the Central Coast. It's a rugby league location. The women's game is quite strong there in rugby league as well, so I'm not surprised the Central Coast in Australia, with the NRL content that we do, is 30th. 29th, Kolkata, India, is another one of the Indian cities that cracks the top 50. I think it's the last Indian city in the top 50 as well. Yes, it's the highest ranked Indian city in the top 50 at 29th. So we've only got 3 Indian cities in the top 50, but I am surprised that we've got 3 Indian cities in the top 50. Cork in Ireland comes in at 28th. I think the amount of rugby union content and the Irish Football Club histories that we did, and the GAA content that we've done, I'm not surprised we have an Irish city in there. Wolverhampton, 27th overall. I've watched a lot of Wolves games in the FA Cup, done the football club history video, which is quite one of the more popular football club history videos on the channel, was obviously the Wolves video. Not surprised Wolverhampton in the West Midlands in the UK has got good, strong viewership. Plymouth, 26th. Obviously, the Wayne Rooney experiment, that was quite a popular series of videos we did there when he was hired, when he was sacked, and of course, their exploits in the FA Cup in recent seasons, and the club history videos. I'm not surprised Plymouth has come in at 26th. It's also a reasonable sized city in the UK. Grimsby. Any videos I do on Grimsby Football Club, Grimsby Town Football Club, the club history, any time I see them playing the FA Cup, any kind of football related content surrounding the local football club, the viewership is really strong in Grimsby and Cleethorpes, so I'm not surprised Grimsby's coming at 25th. I'm really not. When I look at the feedback. I think the Grimsby Town video is one of the highest football club history videos when it comes to viewership as well. 24th, Newcastle upon Tyne. I'm not surprised with this city being on the list. I am surprised with how low it is. Some of my earlier videos were on the prolonged Newcastle United takeover, and they always got really strong viewership. When the Mike Ashley selling saga, and then Amanda Staveley's involvement, and then the various bids, and eventually getting over the line, and also the League Cup final we had this season where they win their first major trophy in decades. I'm not surprised Newcastle has cracked the top 25, let alone the top 50. Cape Town, South Africa is the only South African city on the list. A little bit surprised by that, considering all the rugby union content we've done over the years and cricket content as well. So I'm a little bit surprised with Cape Town sitting where they are and being the only South African city, a little bit. But at the same time, there's other viewers from South Africa as well. But Cape Town's where a lot of the viewers in South Africa are from. Glasgow coming in at 22nd, really not surprised by this. But as of yet, I'm yet to do the Celtic and Rangers football club history videos. I've done a lot of the other football clubs in Scotland, yet to do them. But Glasgow's also, put their hand up for the Commonwealth Games, the rugby union content. You've got, Glasgow in the URC, ice hockey. You've got the Glasgow Clan. Glasgow is a sports-mad city. It's a very metropolitan city. It's a very global city as well. It's one of the biggest cities in the UK, so I'm not surprised that cracks the top 50. Manchester is 21st. Again, similar size population to Glasgow, and again, not surprised Manchester is in the top 50. There's a few locations around Greater Manchester. For example, Warrington's not a million miles away from Manchester, again, in the top 50. 20th, Sheffield. I'm really not surprised Sheffield has cracked the top 20. It's the 20th place city overall. Not surprised by that at all. Big population, sports-mad city. They back in the day they had the World Student Games in Sheffield in the early 90s, and there was a big investment in Sheffield then for the World Student Games. The university's got a lot to do with the sport in the city. You've got 2 professional football clubs, 2 professional ice hockey clubs. Athletics is quite popular. Rugby league with the Sheffield Eagles. So I'm not surprised Sheffield has cracked the top 20. Gold Coast in Australia is at 19th. Really not surprised with that. Rugby league location, isn't it? There's a lot of other Australians have moved to the Gold Coast. It's a rapidly growing city. Not surprised that's 19th overall. A little surprise for me is Christchurch being above Wellington in New Zealand. Christchurch, again, rugby union, rugby league, they're fanatical in New Zealand, and I'm not surprised yet another Kiwi city is in the top 20, let alone the top 50. Liverpool at 17th. Not surprised with that. The amount of videos I've done on Everton and Liverpool, and even Tranmere Rovers. There's football mad city is Liverpool, and of course we've got the new Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium, which is going to host one of the test matches between England and Australia in the rugby league tests at the end of the year. I'm not surprised Liverpool ranks as high as it does with all the football content we've done as well. Canberra in Australia, not surprised by this. I'm a Canberra Raiders fan as well, so I'm really not surprised by that. Townsville in Australia, rugby league heartland in northern Queensland. I've done a lot of videos on the North Queensland Cowboys, obviously the NRL, and I've really always had good viewership from Northern Queensland, and especially whenever I do Cowboys content, North Queensland Cowboys, the viewership's always really strong in regards to the NRL content that we do. Suva in Fiji, capital Fiji, is 14th. This one surprises me a little bit considering how much further ahead it is of Nuka, Alafoa and Tonga, and I'm surprised Samoa, Apia, doesn't make the list at all. I'm not surprised with the following I have from the Pacific Islands. It's always been strong. The viewership's always been really good from Fiji, Tonga and Samoa. But I'm surprised Suva is so much further ahead than Nuka, Alafoa and Tonga. Just a little surprise. I'm not surprised it's in the top 50 because of the rugby union, rugby league content. Hull, 13th overall. That's a sports mad city, rugby league and football. Hull, 3 well-supported clubs in the city of Hull. Not surprised by that. And now we get into some places like Kidderminster in the West Midlands, just outside Birmingham. Got a good viewership from Kidderminster. Adelaide in Australia. Adelaide in Australia is a little bit of a surprise for me, just a little bit. I don't do as much AFL content as I used to, and Adelaide is not really seen as a rugby league heartland in Australia either. So I'm surprised Adelaide comes in at 11th. I am a little bit. I'm not surprised it's in the top 50. I've always had strong viewership from Australia, but Adelaide being at 11th is a little bit of a surprise for me. Port Moresby, PNG, comes in at 10th. Always had strong viewership from Papua New Guinea, and especially from Port Moresby. It's the country's largest city. It's its capital. And, rugby league is a religion in PNG. Birmingham in the UK, really not surprised by this either. Obviously, some of the best supported football clubs in the country, like Aston Villa, West Brom, you've got Birmingham City. These are clubs with rather large fan bases. Obviously hosted the Commonwealth Games. You've got Edgbaston. It's this country's second city. Birmingham, big population. Got a lot of viewers from Birmingham. I've been to Birmingham. I've worked in Birmingham. It's a very diverse city. It's a city with issues. Let's not kid ourselves, but that Commonwealth Games it hosted a few years back, it did a great job. I have to admit, Birmingham did a really great job hosting the Commonwealth Games. There was a lot of investment in the city. A city that does have problems, sure, but the Commonwealth Games was very well received by a lot of fans. Athletics fans and sports fans in general really enjoyed the Commonwealths hosted by Birmingham. Perth in Australia comes in at 8th, not Perth in Scotland, unfortunately. Not surprised by this. It's a fast-growing city in Australia, and of course there's a lot of discussion around the Perth Bears, and they're joining the NRL in a couple of years, and Mal Meninga being named the head coach over there, and the growth of the game, and what squad they're going to assemble in the next couple of years. So not surprised by that. Redditch, another town in the West Midlands, just outside Birmingham. I've got family connections to Redditch as well, so this is actually a little bit of a okay. Not surprised by that. I've always had strong viewership from the West Midlands. I'm really not surprised. There's a lot of locations in the West Midlands with channel viewership being really strong. I've always had real strong channel viewership from those locations from the get-go on the channel, so I'm not surprised by that. Melbourne in Australia comes in at 6th. I'm a little bit surprised Melbourne's outside the top 5, but they come in at 6th, and viewership from Melbourne has always been really, really strong, regardless of the sport we're covering. It could be NRL, AFL, cricket, or European-based sport or North American, but viewership from Melbourne has always been really, really strong. From the channel's inception back in 2017, it's always been one of the top 5, top 10 cities or towns in the world where people are viewing from. Auckland in New Zealand has always had strong viewership going back to 2017 and continues to have really good viewership. So not surprised by that, still being in the top 5 as well. Really not surprised by that. When I do New Zealand Warriors content, the viewership backs that up. It's one of the more popular NRL clubs that when I do content on the Warriors, the viewership is always really strong. Dublin in Ireland comes in at 4th. That again doesn't surprise me because from very early on, Dublin's always been a really strong viewership hotbed, and I've always had a lot of support from Dublin. It doesn't matter what sport I cover. The viewership in Dublin has always been fantastic. The subscriber count from Dublin and Ireland in general is also pretty good. London comes in at 3rd, and this one does surprise me a little bit, that London is not first. This has always surprised me. It used to be, but not anymore. London coming in at 3rd is a bit of a surprise. The top 2 are Australian locations, but London has always been in the top 5. But the fact it's 3rd overall is a bit of a surprise. It's one of the biggest cities, if not the biggest city on the list, I think. I think Kolkata might be a bigger city, but it's, one of the biggest cities in Europe. It's one of the biggest cities in the world. It's one of the biggest metros in the world. If you class the Greater London area, that's 1/3 of the UK comes under Greater London area. If you class the southeast of the UK, that class is Greater London and the Greater London urban conglomeration. So I'm a little bit surprised that London's not number 1. Second place overall was Brisbane. Viewership from Brisbane has always been really strong. A lot of subscribers are from Brisbane. Watch time is from Brisbane is always really good. And first overall was Sydney, Australia. Sydney, top dog, and has been top dog for a while. And I constantly look at these charts. Sydney, there's a fair gap from Sydney to Brisbane and London. Brisbane and London quite close together, as are Dublin. But Sydney is some way ahead of the other cities in regards to viewership. So there we go, there's a quick look at the top 50 cities channel viewers are from. I'll be really interested in the comments section what town or city or even village, if you can put that down on your location, you are viewing from around the world. It'd be really interesting. Does your city make the list? Are you surprised with some of the cities on the list and some of the cities not on the list? That would be interesting to note. But as I say, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for all the support from me. For now, it is goodbye. There will be more content coming very, very soon, but from me for now, it is goodbye. Thank you for watching and thank you for all the support. I just thought this would be a little bit of a fun little rabbit hole to go down, take a little bit of a break from the sports content, and I'll have more content for you all very, very soon.